The farm adventure of Jake and Emma. In a peaceful countryside, far from the hustle and bustle of the town, there was a beautiful farm called Sunnybrook Farm. The farm was a lively place, filled with rows of crops, tall, golden wheat fields, and animals of all kinds: cows, chickens, sheep, and even a mischievous goat named Buster. On this farm lived two siblings, Jake and Emma. Jake was a hardworking boy with a knack for fixing things, while Emma was full of energy and loved taking care of the animals. Together, they helped their parents run the farm and had the best time exploring every corner of Sunnybrook Farm. Every day felt like an adventure, but one day, a special surprise awaited them. One sunny morning, as Jake was working on repairing the old barn door and Emma was feeding the chickens, their father called them over. "Jake, Emma, I have something exciting to tell you," he said with a twinkle in his eye. "What is it, Dad?" Emma asked, her eyes lighting up with curiosity. Their father smiled. "Tomorrow is the big county fair, and we're going to enter the best of Sunnybrook Farm into the competitions, our prize-winning pumpkins, Bessie the cow in the livestock show, and a cart full of the freshest vegetables. But I need your help to make sure everything is ready." Jake and Emma exchanged excited looks. The county fair was the highlight of the year, and they couldn't wait to show off their farm's finest treasures. "We're ready, Dad," Jake said confidently. "What do we need to do?" Their father handed them a list. "Jake, you can help fix up the old cart we'll use to carry the vegetables, and Emma, I need you to make sure Bessie is washed and ready for the livestock show. And don't forget to check the pumpkin patch. We need to pick our biggest pumpkin for the competition." With their tasks set, Jake and Emma wasted no time. Jake grabbed his toolbox and headed toward the shed where the old wooden cart stood. The wheels were a bit wobbly and the paint was chipped, but Jake knew just what to do. He tightened the screws, fixed the wobbly wheels, and gave the cart a fresh coat of paint. By the time he was done, it looked as good as new. Meanwhile, Emma ran to the barn to check on Bessie, their big, friendly cow. Bessie was known for giving the best milk in the county, and Emma wanted to make sure she looked her best for the fair. She filled a bucket with soapy water and gave Bessie a nice, long bath. Bessie mooed happily as Emma brushed her coat until it was shiny and clean. After making sure Bessie was all set, Emma headed to the pumpkin patch with Jake. The patch was filled with pumpkins of all shapes and sizes, but one stood out from the rest. It was the biggest, roundest pumpkin they had ever seen. "This is it," Emma said, her eyes wide. "This is the one we're taking to the fair." With some effort, Jake and Emma carefully picked the giant pumpkin and loaded it onto the cart. They stood back and admired their hard work. The cart was filled with fresh vegetables, the giant pumpkin, and Bessie, who was standing proudly at the front. The next morning, the farm was buzzing with excitement as they hitched Bessie to the cart and set off for the county fair. The fairgrounds were filled with laughter, the smell of popcorn, and the sound of music. There were rides, games, and food stands, but the biggest attractions were the competitions. As soon as they arrived, Jake and Emma helped their father set up their stall. People gathered to admire their giant pumpkin and the fresh vegetables from Sunnybrook Farm. Bessie stood proudly, mooing softly as the judges came by to inspect her. When it was time for the competitions, the excitement was electric. First came the vegetable contest, and the judges were impressed with the variety and quality of Sunnybrook Farm's produce. Then it was time for the pumpkin competition. As soon as the judges saw Jake and Emma's giant pumpkin, their eyes widened. "This is the biggest pumpkin we've seen today," one of the judges exclaimed. Jake and Emma beamed with pride. Finally, it was Bessie's turn in the livestock show. Emma led her into the ring, her coat gleaming in the sunlight. Bessie mooed loudly, catching the attention of the judges, who couldn't help but smile at how well-groomed and happy she looked. After all the competitions were over, it was time for the awards ceremony. Jake, Emma, and their father stood together, their hearts pounding with anticipation. "And the winner for the best pumpkin goes to Sunnybrook Farm," the announcer called out. Jake and Emma cheered as they went up to accept their ribbon. But the surprises didn't stop there. The winner for the best livestock in the county is Bessie from Sunnybrook Farm. Emma hugged Bessie, and the crowd applauded as they proudly accepted their second ribbon of the day. By the end of the fair, Jake and Emma returned home with their ribbons, happy and proud of what they had accomplished together. As the sun set over Sunnybrook Farm, they sat on the porch with their parents, Bessie munching on some hay nearby. "We did it, Emma," Jake said, smiling. Emma nodded. "And we'll do it again next year." Their father chuckled. "I'm proud of you both. Sunnybrook Farm wouldn't be the same without you." And so, as the stars twinkled in the sky, Jake and Emma knew that the farm wasn't just a place where they worked. It was a place full of love, laughter, and adventures, big and small.